This is the judge ready to read the punishment phase, the verdict here in the Ronald Haskell trial, convicted of capital murder for killing a family in Spring, his ex-wife's family, 5 years ago. Let's listen in.
Mr. Haskell, please stand to receive the verdict. To special issue number 1, do you find from the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that there is a probability that the defendant, Ronald Lee Haskell, would commit criminal acts of violence that would constitute a continuing threat to society? The answer is, we, the jury, unanimously find and determine beyond a reasonable doubt that the answer to this special issue is yes. Having answered yes to special issue number 1, I will move on to number 2. Special issue number 2, do you find from the evidence, taking into consideration all of the evidence, including the circumstances of the offense, the defendant's character and background, and the personal moral culpability of the defendant, Ronald Lee Haskell, that there is a sufficient mitigating circumstance or circumstances to warrant that a sentence of life imprisonment without parole rather than a death sentence be imposed? Answer, we, the jury, unanimously find that the answer to this special issue is no. Mr. Haskell, you may be seated. Would either party like the jury polled?
That's a request, the jury be polled.
All right, thank you very much. As you will recall, jury, from the guilt-innocent phase of trial, the parties are entitled to have you indicate whether or not this is your verdict. So I will start from the near end front row and ask you individually, and then from the near end back row down to the end. Number 1, ma'am, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Number 2?
Yes.
Number 3?
Yes.
Number 4?
Yes.
Number 5?
Yes.
Number 6?
Yes, Your Honor.
Number 7?
Yes.
Number 8?
Yes.
Number 9?
Yes.
Number 10?
Yes.
Number 11?
Yes, Your Honor.
And number 12.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. Hearing that the jury's unanimous verdict to special issue number 1 is yes, and that the jury's unanimous verdict to special issue number 2 is no, I do find that the requisite number of jurors necessary to agree to the assessment of punishment in this case has been reached. Mr. Haskell, please stand again. Ronald Lee Haskell, the jury, having found you guilty of the capital murder of Stephen Stay and Katie Stay, and having returned a unanimous affirmative verdict to issue number 1 and a unanimous negative verdict to issue number 2, the court sentences you to death by lethal injection. It is therefore the order, judgment, and decree of this court that you be remanded to the custody of the sheriff of this county to be delivered to the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, where you shall be continuously confined until 6 p.m. on a date to be determined, when the proper authorities shall administer lethal injection sufficient to cause your death. State, I understand that there is a victim impact statement, and Mr. Haskell, you may be seated.